So thank you everyone for joining us today for the offensive media availability with Alabama. This is for the 2021 CFP semifinal at the Rose Bowl game presented by Capital One. We had a slight change to today's schedule. We're actually going to be joined first by Devonta Smith, and then Coach Sarkeesian will join us just after that. So we apologize for that change. Coach Sark will be joining us shortly. I'm going to hand it off to Josh Maxson, and he will get going and moderate the call.
All right, everyone, we're here with Devonta Smith. We're going to open up with first question over to Lucas Wees.
Hey, Devonta, thanks for taking the time. Two-part question. First, what does it mean to be the AP's College Football Player of the Year? And second, can you just comment on the growth of your teammate John Metchie III this year and what he's meant to the team?
Winning the award it's a blessing just to be in that conversation and to win the award. And Metchie, he comes to work every day. He works hard, and it's paying off for him. He's in the film room every day. He's going out to practice, working hard, and he wants to get better every day.
Second question over to Nick Hamilton.
Hey, Devonta, thank you for taking the time out. I want to ask you, what is the biggest thing you've noticed about your own growth and development on the field as well as off the field?
Just my attention to detail, how precise I want to be with everything, just wanting to do everything perfect, just getting as perfect as I can with everything that I do.
Pat Ford, the floor is yours.
Hi, Devonta. I wanted to ask you first about being asked to play defensive back some in spring practice when you were first getting to school there and what your reaction was to that. And then secondly, when you really felt like you belonged and could play at the highest level there at Alabama.
Playing DB, I kind of felt eventually it was going to come, just with the depth and everything that we had going into the spring. I mean, I was willing to do whatever Coach Saban asked me to do. I was comfortable with it. And really, yeah, just do whatever he wanted me to do.
Rhea Turner, over to you.
Hey, Devonta, tell me a little bit about that nickname you have, the Slim Reaper, and how do you plan on using that against Notre Dame?
I first heard it from Coach Paul, one of the strength and conditioning coaches. He called me at one game, and it just kind of stuck to me. And then next thing you know, everybody just started calling me that. And really, when it comes to the game, just going out there, just doing my job, executing the game plan.
Mike Rodak, you're up.
Yeah, Devonta, when you go back to last January and think back to your decision to come back for your last year, just how much debate was there in your mind, and how much has this season and your success, the team's success, validated that decision?
Just knowing that I wanted to finish things the right way, I wanted to get my degree. I feel like I made the right decision and a great decision, and being around this team has opened my eyes to a lot of things and just made me very comfortable and glad that I made that decision.
Cecil Hurt with the next question.
Devonta, when Jalen was injured against Tennessee, did that affect you in any way in terms of stepping up either as a leader off the field, or did it affect your play on the field?
When he went down, it just made me want to accept the role to do more. Just feeling that it's a big player that we lost, and I just wanted to do more for the team, do whatever I can for the team.
Steve Moulton, go ahead.
Hey, Devonta, appreciate the time. If you could talk about also being a semifinal a finalist for the Heisman Trophy, and really also about Jalen, how much he's helped you maybe since his injury this year.
He's helped me a lot just with the things that he see when he's at the game. He talks to him about things that he see. He's still on the sideline helping us with the offensive things like that. And just being here in the film room, just telling us things that he sees. So he helps me and the other players out a lot.
Over to Chris Daly.
Devontae. Congrats on winning AP Player of the Year, and you've been lighting it up at Alabama, but you might not be here without a barbershop you went to as a kid. So what is that barbershop, and what did they do to help propel you to stardom?
He kept me going with everything that's been going on. The times when I was down and I didn't want to play no more, he kept me going, always kept me on the right track, took me places to get these opportunities to play football at the highest level.
Tony Sakalis, go ahead.
Devonta, you've had your 2 best seasons under Steve Sarkeesian. Just what has he done to kind of maybe help your game out a little bit and give you the opportunity to shine like you have?
He does a lot with his offense, a lot of movements, a lot of shifts, a lot of motions, putting people in different places, helping everybody be successful.
Stephen Smith, you're up.
First and foremost, Devontae, hopefully you had a great Christmas holiday, but the question I had was, when this 2017 group came together, when did y'all first realize we got something really special here, the 2017 offensive unit?
Well, a lot of us, we went to a lot of camps together, so we talked to each other. Some of us kind of knew where others were leaning to, and some of us were already kind of committed here, and it was just everybody just recruiting each other, just building a relationship, and I feel like that's what made us so close, is just before we even got here, the relationship that we had.
Go ahead, Dennis Freeman.
Devonta, can you talk about the challenges that Notre Dame defense presents to your offense?
They fly to the ball. They're very physical. They send all kinds of blitzes and things like that. They're technically sound. They don't make a lot of mistakes.
John Feinren, you're up.
Yeah, Devontae, could you compare the Notre Dame defense to any defenses that you guys have played this season?
Really similar to a lot of defense we played. Everybody gets to the ball. Everybody try to get the ball out.
Edwin Stanton, go ahead.
Hey, Devontae, just curious, you could have gone to a lot of different schools, but what was the determining factor for you to coming to Alabama?
A place where it was home, away from home.
Austin Hugh, over to you.
Yeah, Devonta, when you watch Notre Dame's secondary, specifically Kyle Hamilton, what does he do on the field that is tricky, and what makes him so successful back there as a safety?
They throw in a lot of different looks. They play a lot of their coverages different ways, so it's a lot of the same coverages. They look different with people in different places. They do a good job of disguising everything.
Aaron Suttles, go ahead.
Yeah, back to that 2017 recruiting class. When it all came together, when you guys were going through spring practice and even workouts together, when did you realize how good it was? I mean, from offensive tackles to the rideouts to Dylan Moses, just a lot of talent in that class.
Just with how close everybody was and everybody's dedication to this team. Just everybody wanting to come in, put in the work, everybody getting together, putting in extra work.
George Bashura, you're up.
I think you tapped me, AP Stidham.
All right, go ahead, AP.
Oh, okay. Hey, Devontae. Devontae, I haven't heard you say this before. I don't know. Are there a few receivers that you've had in your game now after college players, maybe somebody in your neck of the woods or pro players, or anybody you kind of look and emulated your game after or watch and take parts of it?
Keenan Allen and Devontae Adams.
And now we'll go over to George. George, go ahead. All right, we have a follow-up with Pat Ford.
Yeah, Devontae, you mentioned your barber friend who kept you going when you didn't want to play anymore. When was it that you didn't want to play, and why?
My sophomore year in high school, broke my clavicle at a practice, and I always wanted to play basketball, and I was just really just frustrated with everything, and I just didn't want to play no more.
We'll go back over to Steve Moulton.
Devonta, for most of us out here, we look at that catch at LSU as kind of your highlight moment of the season. Was that your favorite part of the year? If not, well, what was your maybe favorite moment of 2020 so far?
My favorite moment has been the games where it's been a tough game. We've been in a dogfight, and this team just kept coming together, and we kept believing in each other. Offense believed in defense, defense believed in offense, and we just kept fighting as a team. So no moment of me specifically, just moments of this team being one.
And back over to Pat Ford.
I didn't have another question.
All right. Any other questions for Devonta Smith? Nick Hamilton, you're up.
Hey, Devonta, just a quick follow-up. What is it about Keenan Allen's game that you like so much that you admire about it and try to patent your game after?
Just the details, everything from his releases to his routes, just the small details and everything that he do.
Thank you.
Joseph Goodman, go ahead.
Hey, Devonta, I've always wondered who was it that first called you Smitty? How did you get that? I mean, obviously it's your last name, but who's the first person who called you that?
Coach Napier, when I was getting recruited, he always called me Smitty.
Okay, thanks.
That looks like all the questions we have for Devonta Smith. Thank you, Devonta. We're going to go ahead and keep things rolling with players. We're here with Alex Leatherwood. Dennis Dodd with the first question.
No, go ahead. Moving on. I'm fine. Thank you.
All right. Nick Hamilton, you're up.
Hey, good afternoon, Alex. Just wanted to get your thoughts on what it means to play in a game like the Rose Bowl, especially with a college football playoff, and what are some difficulties that you see from Notre Dame that can present some issues for you all?
First and foremost, it means a lot to play in a game like this, just because of how historic it is and the history behind like the meaning of the game and stuff like that. And I'm appreciative to get the chance to play in it. But as far as Notre Dame, the issues we'll face, they got a very aggressive defensive coordinator, and his players are also that they play great as a unit. You know what I mean? Like the front seven and the DBs, and they play super technique sound and well in what they do, and they don't make a lot of mistakes. So it's going to be a fun game.
Tony Sakalis with the second question.
Yeah, Alex, you guys lost your best run blocker in Landon Dickerson. We've seen what Chris Owens can contribute as a pass blocker, but how confident are you that he'll be able to provide a push in the running game against a really stout front seven of Notre Dame?
Super confident in Chris and anybody else who we may need to play. I mean, we all do. We're just all prepared for whatever may come our way. So I feel like we're good.
Charlie Potter, go ahead.
Yeah, Alex, just kind of piggybacking off of that, how big of a loss was it both on the field and off the field for Landon to go down with an injury like that?
I mean, of course it was a big loss because he's a great leader, you know what I mean, emotional leader and stuff like that. And he's great in the run game, he's great in the pass game. But I feel like we'll be fine because Chris is not a rookie. I mean, he's played before, and we trust in him to get the job done.
Stephen Smith, go ahead.
Alex, first and foremost, hope you had a great Christmas season, Christmas holiday. But my question to you was, when you look at Kyle, what has Kyle Flood meant to this team, especially as the offensive line coach? People talk about him as a recruiter, but what has he done as an O-line coach that has really helped you and the whole group?
He's done a lot for us in this group, but one thing that makes him a great coach is he knows how to create the relationships with his players. You know what I mean? He knows how to coach people at an individual level and really get to know you, and knows how to coach each player a different way to bring out the best in that player. So I feel like that's his biggest plus as a coach.
Lucas Weiss with the next question.
Hey, Alex, thanks for taking the time. Can you chat about what John Metchie III is like as a teammate and his impact for the team this season?
John Metchie as a teammate, I feel like he's the ideal teammate. He's a very hard worker, and he's super selfless. You know what I mean? He does everything that the coaches in the program ask of him to do, and he's just a hard-working guy. You know what I mean? He's a good dude outside of football as well, a great friend of mine personally, but I like him a lot.
Aaron Suttles, over to you.
When you look back at your recruiting class in 2017 and the talent that was in it, what do you think of it now? I mean, so many guys playing in the NFL already from that class, and more guys going to be playing. What's your you kind of look back in awe of how much talent was in that class?
Yeah, I do a lot. I feel like we're the greatest of all time, if you ask me. I mean, we just had a lot of talent, but aside from us all being talented and things like that, we were all hard workers, and we all had a common goal in mind, and that was to win a national championship and be the best players that we could be, and that's why we came here.
Mike Rodak, over to you.
Yeah, when you think back to your decision a year ago to return to school, just how much do you think this season validates that and your development as a player in these past 12 months, on top of getting a degree and finishing school?
I feel like it was a great decision, and of course now I'm seeing the benefits from it. We're getting a chance to play in the playoffs again, and I feel like I've improved as a player. Week in and week out, you know what I mean? It may be small things in my game that I feel like I'm just taking to another level with every week, and I want to keep trying to build on that, and yeah.
These will be our final two questions. Steve Moulton, go ahead.
Alex, congratulations on a successful season. I was wondering if you could talk to me about what you've seen out of Notre Dame's front seven and what kind of challenges they bring.
Their front seven is very physical, and they're very they're physical, tough, technique sound, and aggressive. I mean, I can keep going on and on about their defensive front, but their interior, they're super stout. They're super high effort guys, you know what I mean? And just like the D ends, they're strong, they're good with their hands, they know how to pass rush, they can stop the run. They're a great defensive front. And their linebackers, you got the dude number 6, he's the Buckets Award winner, and he definitely plays like a Buckets Award winner. He's good. And just as all the other linebackers, it's a great group, and I'm excited to play them.
Final question for Alex Leatherwood will be from Dennis Freeman.
Alex, can you talk about how important is it for the offensive line and for the offense to establish your running game early against Notre Dame?
I couldn't hear you.
How important is it for the offensive line to establish the running game against Notre Dame early?
Oh, that's important for any game, you know what I mean? Because you got to establish the run game so you can open up the RPOs, the pass game, and stuff like that. But not only that, but we got a head-to-head match with Notre Dame's O-line, to compete for the Joe Moore Award. And I'm excited to compete and showcase what we can do, even with a backup center, you know what I mean? Because I feel like everybody in our offensive line room is just committed to being the best that we could be, you know what I mean? So I'm excited to see that matchup.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Alabama offensive coordinator Steve Sarkeesian will be joining us next.
Okay, guys, thanks for your patience here. We've got Coach Sarkeesian. We'll go ahead and let him open with a quick comment, and then we'll get to your question.
Well, I just first of all like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year's to everybody. Obviously, it's an exciting time. I think our football team has worked extremely hard to get to this point. It's always cool to be in playing the traditional powers, of a Alabama Notre Dame type game in the Rose Bowl. So all in all, we're excited for the opportunity. Proud of the accomplishments that our team has had up until this point. Now we've got a great challenge ahead of us.
Okay, with that, we'll get started. We'll go with Dennis Dodd. Go ahead.
Hey, Sark, congratulations on the Broyles. Your colleague Lane Kiffin was famous for holding his hands up when he saw a play open up on the sidelines. I know you don't do that, but the way things have gone, do you ever feel that on the sidelines when you see things opening up the way things have gone this year? Like, this is going to work?
Well, I mean, I think, when you put in the time and the effort and the work, and then you start to see things develop in the way they do, you feel the excitement for the players. And I probably hold back my emotions some more than others. But generally, when you see something play out the way you had practiced it and the way you hoped, you're excited for the work of the coaches and everybody putting it in, and then ultimately the players' execution. So all in all, that's the preparation side of it, right? We put in our work, and then the results are the results, but that comes from the hard work leading in. And I think everybody expresses themselves a different way when good plays happen, and then we look forward to the results.
We'll go to Mike Rodak.
This is the first time I think we've talked to you since the Iron Bowl. So just looking back at that game for a second, just how much of an appreciation did you have just for your own personal journey, these past couple years, just being in that seat again and having that role as a head coach for a game?
Well, obviously, it was a unique scenario, and it was one that I just wanted to do the best job I could do for the university, for our football program, for Coach Saban. And ultimately, it was about the players. The guys played their tails off in that game. They played really well in all three phases, and I just kind of did my part the best I could. And again, I didn't want to lose sight of what my initial role always is, and that's to have our offense ready to play and to call plays. So the end result is it was an awesome opportunity. It was great to kind of be back in that role for a few hours, but the reality of it is, it was about the players and their performance, and I was proud of the way they played in the game.
Next, we will go with Brett Hudson. Go ahead, Brett.
Sark, how was Smitty used differently after Waddle went down to kind of compensate for his absence and then create the opportunity for him to have the statistical output that he's had in the second half of the regular season?
Well, I think what Smitty brings to the table is he's a very smart football player. I mean, this guy's got a very high football IQ. He's a guy that understands the game big picture, not just, in one position or another. He recognizes coverages really well, and so it's allowed us to move him all over the field, whether it's in the slot, isolation type plays, in bunches. And the reality of it is he knows why we're calling what we're calling and what we're calling those things for. And the result is, he's got a quarterback who prepares really well, who knows why we're calling those plays as well and takes advantage of the opportunities when they're there. And then ultimately it comes down to the players making plays. And I think Smitty has demonstrated that all year long, and it's been probably magnified since Jalen went out. That his unique playmaking ability shows up. And he's had a tremendous season. I'm so proud of him because I know it was a tough decision for him at the end of last season to come back. But clearly him coming back has been worth his while, and I'm sure it's been very gratifying for him. Clearly, we've benefited from that as well from a football standpoint for our team. So all in all, I think it's been a win-win, but really proud of Smitty, his leadership that he's displayed, the work ethic he displayed, and then ultimately the playmaking ability.
We'll go to Aaron Suttles next.
Steve, against Florida, you ran a play where you had Najee out wide, and he sort of runs this hitch into like this slant post. Obviously, you can't run that type of play without having trust in your offensive line. Does that offensive line, does it allow you the liberty to play, maybe call plays that you otherwise wouldn't be able to call with a lesser line?
Without a doubt. I said this early on, I think in preseason, we've got a very veteran group up front. Even with Landon out and Chris Owens stepping in, we've got a veteran group. They've played a lot of football. They've seen a lot of defense. So you get a feel for them in preparation of the things they're comfortable doing, the things that maybe they're not as comfortable doing, and then you trust the dialogue that you have with them. And so all in all, I felt good about where we were at from a pass protection standpoint in that game, and those guys assured me of that. And so it allowed us to do some different things, maybe out of empty and whatnot. That play in particular to allow us maybe another second to let a play develop.
Okay, we will go with George Bashura next. Go ahead, George. George, you're going to have to unmute yourself, George. Okay, hold on. We'll go to somebody else, George. We'll go to John Finneran.
Coach, I was wondering if you could probably dissect the Notre Dame defense for us, and where do you see some similarities to some other defenses that you've played this season?
Yeah, I don't know if I could completely dissect them. They do a great job. I mean, Coach Lee's a tremendous football coach. They've got a great scheme. They've got a team that plays hard, that plays tough, that plays sound football. They're very aggressive up front. They're aggressive in the back end. They create turnovers. They attack the football. They do a tremendous job of getting off the field on third down. They do a really good job of stopping the run on first down to put you into the tougher second longs and then the third and long type scenarios. So at the end of the day, these guys are a very good team. Obviously, they've got some highlight type players in number 6 and number 14 who make plays in the perimeter, make plays, pressure in the quarterback. But I think they play really complementary football with their defense, with their offense. They get you off the field on defense, and then they possess the ball on offense. And so we've got to do a great job in this game of extending drives on third down and then ultimately maximizing opportunities in the red area to score touchdowns.
We'll go to Joseph Goodman.
Hey, Steve. Devonta is obviously up for the Heisman Trophy this year. How has that receiver position kind of evolved with this new era of offense in college football, making it, I guess, more impactful and important?
Well, I mean, I think clearly you look around the country, a lot of people are throwing the ball. So receiver numbers are what they are right now. I can't speak for everybody. Where I speak for us is, we lost 2 great receivers last year in Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy. We lost Jalen Waddle early in the year this year. Obviously, John Metchie has stepped up for us, but it created a unique opportunity for Devonta Smith to be a guy where we had been spreading the wealth around so much here for the last couple of years that all of a sudden now he can become a real feature guy. And I don't know if that's what everybody else does. I know our system is complementary on offense. We like to be a balanced attack. We run the football clearly with Najee. We try to spread the ball around. We're obviously a big formation team. But from a receiver standpoint, I'm sure it's a lot of fun for a lot of guys because, the game has changed so dramatically over the last 10, 20, 30 years to where more guys are getting more opportunities to make plays down the field catching the ball. And I think that stems back to high school and in 7-on-7 and what everybody has going on there. So, again, I can't speak for everybody else and the receiver play. I do speak to the fact that, we're fortunate enough to have one of the best ones in the country on our team and provides a great deal of leadership on our football team.
We'll go to Lucas Weiss.
Hey, Coach, thanks so much for taking the time. Just following up on John Metchie III, Coach Saban mentioned yesterday just the positive impact he's had on the program, how tough he is, how physical he is. Can you just elaborate on the growth that you've seen in John from the start of the program to now and how he'll be utilized against Notre Dame on Friday?
Well, I think when he came in, he was really the 5th guy in that room. And I think to his credit, he really tried to learn from those guys. And he really tried to see, what does Ruggs do? What does Jeudy do? What does Smitty do? What does Waddle do? And how does that fit my game? And then when this year came around, it was still a little unknown A&M shows up and the guy has a breakout game against a quality opponent, top 5 opponent in the country. And I think that's when he stepped onto the scene. I think for himself, the confidence kicked into all the work I've been putting in is starting to pay off now. So he's a huge asset to us. I think he provides, again, a lot of versatility. He's a very smart player, which is key in our system. So complementary football with he and Devonta, and then obviously what Najee's doing in the backfield. We've got some pretty savvy players that can move around the field.
We'll go to Nick Hamilton. Nick?
Coach Sarkeesian, wanted to get your thoughts on Mac Jones as well as Devonta Smith. What have you seen from those two individuals as far as their progression and their growth over the course of the season, both on and off the field?
Well, they're both great leaders. I think the one thing, especially in this day and age of college football, very rarely do you have guys that are highlight really good football players for you in their 4th year. So many guys leave early, right? So both those guys have been around the program. They've been through the battles. I mean, Devonta's notorious for the 2nd and 26 catch against Georgia in the national championship game. Mac came in as kind of the 3-star, grinded out, sitting behind a Jalen Hurts and a Tua Tagovailoa. But at the end of it all, it is the perseverance that they provide, the leadership they provide, and then ultimately the performance. These guys prepare better than anybody right now on offense for us in their preparation for the game, and it shows in the way they play the game. And their preparation is at the highest level. They remind me of NFL players when it comes to that. And the result is they're prepared for what they may see from the opponent. They're prepared for what's asked of them from us from an offensive standpoint. But more importantly, they provide a model for our younger players of this is how you want to go about your business if you want to play at a high level. And that's not just on the field, that's off the field in their preparation. So all in all, I'm so proud of these 2 young men because for Devonta, which we talked about, for him coming back for his senior season, and then having the results that he's having, and then also for Mac for the perseverance. This is a guy who waited his turn, got thrown to the fire late last season, showed some resiliency, bouncing back from a couple interceptions in the Auburn game, and then this offseason came and just almost wouldn't be denied and set himself up for a tremendous season. And so the results that he's having now, I'm very proud of him, and I'm happy for him because he's earned it.
Go to Charlie Potter.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, what does it say about the balance of this offense that you guys have 3 of the top 5 Heisman vote getters, and just how much fun is it to coach these players when they buy into that and have success on the field?
Well, I think it speaks volumes to our team in general. I mean, I think anytime awards like this come up, and like for us to have 3 of the top 5 in the Heisman means our team is playing good football. Those things don't happen if you're not winning football games, if you're not in this situation in the college football playoff. So I think that's a byproduct of being on a good football team. But for us as an offense, I think the idea that these guys bought into the run game helps the passing game. The passing game helps the run game. We are not one-dimensional. We don't recruit one-dimensional offensive linemen. We ask them to run block. We ask them to pass protect. We don't recruit one-dimensional backs. Clearly, Najee and his versatility of running the ball, catching the ball out of the backfield. Brian Robinson kind of in the same mold, and very intelligent receivers. And so, we do use quite a bit of formations and motions and things, and that can be taxing on you if you don't know what you're doing. So all in all, the buy-in for the players on offense has been something I'm proud of because it's not always easy. It's easy to say, man, we just want to run the ball, or why aren't we throwing it more? But I think our players are mature enough to know that we need both aspects of our offense to make the other one go. And the result is, those guys are not the only ones, but those guys are getting, the accolades that I think they deserve.
Okay, we'll finish up with Stephen Smith.
Coach, just talk about how much your relationship with head coach Nick Saban has grown. You came back to Alabama in 2019 as the offensive coordinator. What have you learned the most from Coach Saban, and what do you hope that he's learned from you?
I don't know what he's learned from me, but I would say at the end of the day, I've just tried to be a sponge here, man. I mean, I had a choice here 2 years ago with some other opportunities and had the opportunity to come back here to Alabama. I jumped on the opportunity, not just to coach the players and be part of the team, but to be around him. Coach Saban is the best to ever do it. And then a year ago, I had a couple opportunities to become a head coach, and I decided to come back because I felt like my work here wasn't done. I felt like I owed it to him. I made a commitment to him to be part of this program, and I just try to do the best I can do. I try to be the best version of Steve Sarkeesian every day that I show up, and be a sponge into all of the aspects of the program that he has his fingerprint on, which is literally everything. And I think probably the biggest thing I've learned from him is his ability to balance all aspects of the program, whether it's on the field, off the field, recruiting, all of that goes into being a head coach at a place like Alabama. Those are all the things that I've tried to take in from him, because his balance of all of that, I think, is what is pretty incredible.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All righty, guys. Thank you.
And we will be continuing back with players. We're here with quarterback Mac Jones, and we will open it up with questions. AP Stedham with the first one.
Hey, good afternoon, Mac.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, good, Mac. Very well, thank you. Say, Mac, what have you seen from this Notre Dame secondary, and specifically their cornerbacks, how they try to take care of an elite receiver like somebody like Devonta?
Yeah, I think they do a good job. Coach Lee, with their scheme, 4 down fronts mostly, and then they try and play quarters on the back end and do a bunch of different things too. But I think the big thing is that those guys in the back end, they know where their weaknesses are, and then they also are always in the right spot. So when you play a defense like that, you got to understand that they know where they're supposed to be, and you just have to find the right holes in the defense. And obviously they're really well coached and they play really hard. Whenever someone's getting tackled, there's 9, 10, 11 guys around the ball. So, it just shows that they play together and they play really hard, and they're one of the top defenses in the country.
Rhea Turner with the next question.
Hi, Mac. Looking back when you first started at Alabama, you were just a backup quarterback for Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. Now, fast forward to 2020, you're currently a Heisman candidate. Did you ever think in a million years you'd be in the position you're in right now?
Yeah, I try not to worry about future events and things like that, but really just, I did create a bunch of goals for myself, and my teammates obviously have a bunch of goals as well, and we kind of come in as a freshman group, and we had a great class, and yes, I did learn a lot from Jalen and Tua, and I definitely set goals to try and become a better player so I could help the team, and I just tried to work really hard, and obviously a lot of guys that were in my recruiting class did the same. So I think it's really showing, but at the same time, we have a lot left to write in our story, and that's going to be important this next game.
Chris Daly, go ahead.
Hey, Mac. So you've gone through a lot, flipping from Kentucky to Alabama and then having to sit behind Tua and Jalen, as just mentioned. So mentally, how gratifying is it to play in the Rose Bowl, and how are you preparing mentally for this big game?
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing. Any college football player would want to say they wanted to play in the game like the Rose Bowl and a college football playoff. So we're just really happy to be here, but at the same time, you got to kind of ask yourself if you're satisfied with just being there, or do you want to really take advantage of the opportunity? And I think all of our teammates and our coaches have decided that we just want to take advantage of where we're at, and we're finally where we want to be. And like I said, it's a great blessing, and we're just looking forward to the opportunity.
Brett Hudson, over to you.
Yeah, Mac, I was wondering if you could say something about Joe Dixon and the role that he's had in this season for you and kind of helping you reach this point.
Oh, you're talking about Coach D?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear you. Yeah, Coach D is a guy that I've been around for a long time, probably since I was like 8 or 9 years old. We talk almost every day on the phone or texting, and he's just a guy that, he can always help me out if I need something with my mechanics or anything with the scheme that we're doing, just because he's been around football for a long time and he's seen a lot of good players and a lot of good coaching. So just really happy to have him there, kind of just helping me out. But at the same time, we also have great coaches here that have helped me along the way, starting with my freshman year all the way to now. So, just getting kind of that third-party outside source that I can have as like a family member type person in Coach D has been really cool.
Peter Sampson, go ahead.
Mac, I want to ask you about Kyle Hamilton, number 14 on Notre Dame's defense. What kind of matchup problems he can create, and then as a quarterback, how important it is to identify him before every snap, and then maybe even like make sure you make eye contact with him to potentially move him around.
Yeah, that guy, I mean, he's all over the tape. I mean, you see him everywhere. He's blitzing, he's in the back end, hiding pressures and then coming or, covering people. So he's a real lengthy guy. I think he's like 6'4". I mean, you can see it on the tape. He understands football. You can tell he really studies his part, and he knows exactly what to do. And I'm just looking forward to getting a chance to go against someone like that. I mean, it's almost like an Ed Reed type person where you have to find him every play. I mean, you got to know where he is because he can really like ruin a play for you if you're not finding that player.
Lucas Wees, over to you.
Hey, Mac, thanks for taking the time. How much has John Metchie III grown as a receiver this year? And can you describe what he's like as a teammate off the field?
Yeah, Metchie's a great guy. I mean, he wakes up early, he comes to work. I mean, he's just one of those guys that's a grinder, and he's been doing that since he's gotten here. And really this summer, I was just really happy to see him, when we're obviously in different cities, but when we were in Tuscaloosa working together, I mean, he'd wake up at 6 in the morning and come throw or whenever we wanted to throw. So it just shows that he's grown a lot too. He's kind of gotten a lot of opportunities this year, and he's done a great job, and he's a great team player. One of my favorite plays is that play last game where he kind of got the fumble back. I mean, that just shows you what type of player and competitor he is. He didn't even get the ball on that play. He ends up flipping a turnover, and then we score on the next play. So it's things like that. Sometimes people don't notice, and that happens all the time with a lot of players in our team. But I'm really just happy to have John, there helping us out and making plays.
Mike Rodak, you're up.
Yeah, Mac, when you think back to about a year ago and you had a couple of juniors who decided to go to the NFL, but a couple who stayed as well, with Devonta and Najee, just how much were you involved in campaigning for them to come back, and what has it meant to have them this season for you?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, that's their personal decision, but obviously, when you're becoming a new quarterback at Alabama, you want to have good playmakers around you, and we have that. But at the same time, those guys came back and kind of put the we before me, and they wanted to win a national championship, and we're kind of where we want to be. And at the same time, I'm just really happy that they've kind of increased their stock or whatever you want to call it as the season's gone on, and they've just proved that you can come back and work for something and be where you want to be. So we got a little bit ways to go, but I'm really proud of those guys, and I'm just super thankful that they actually did come back, and I got a chance to play with them for a full year.
Nick Hamilton, over to you.
Good morning, Matt.
Morning.
I wanted to get your thoughts on where have you seen your progression and where have you seen your growth over the course of this season, and what have you learned from Coach Sarkeesian as well that has helped you along the way?
Yeah, I think, just the season's been obviously pretty wild. Being the starting quarterback and stuff, there's a lot of pressures and things like that, but at the same time, you got to learn how to manage it and just be a good teammate and then try and be the best quarterback that you can be. And, each week there's a different challenge, so you just have to first understand what the challenge is and then figure out how you can beat that challenge. And obviously Coach Sark, you can see it on the field. He calls great plays. He's great at developing players. All the players love him. I mean, we all are behind Coach Sark 100%, and he's an aggressive play caller, and it shows on the field. And we love how he adjusts to what we're saying and telling him to. Some offensive coordinators probably don't listen to their players as much, but he definitely takes in what we tell him and what we see on the field, and then we kind of combine to come up with the game plan and even in-game adjustments.
John Feinran, you're up.
Yeah, Mac, I wonder if you could dissect some other Notre Dame defensive players, Owusu-Koramoah and some of the other players that you've seen on film.
Yeah, Jeremiah, number 6, does a great job. I mean, the guy, obviously won the Butkus Award, and you see him on film. He can cover people. he's all over the field. I mean, he creates turnovers, causes fumbles, interceptions, all sorts of things. But I think he's kind of like the pivotal piece in the defense. But at the same time, they got great players all around. They create a lot of movement up front in the defensive line, play a lot of different guys. Linebackers are, bigger run stopper type guys, but at the same time, they're all over the field as well. And in the back end with the 4 guys in the back end, we already talked about 14. And he's kind of the leader back there. But all those guys have played a lot of football. It's 9 seniors or something like that. So we just got to be ready. They're the top defense in the country and obviously really good on third down too. So we're just looking forward to the opportunity.
We have time for just a few more questions for Mac. Aaron Suttles, you're up.
Matt, going back to your recruitment in that class of 2017, obviously it's easy to look back now. There's so many guys in the NFL from that class. There are going to be even more going into the NFL. As you're going through your recruitment, you're meeting the guys, or even when you get to campus, what was the first moment you realized that class was special?
Yeah, I mean, I knew they were all special even before we got here at camps and stuff. I mean, all those guys, Smitty, Ruggs, Judy, throwing to them at some camps, really cool opportunity. And obviously, you can look at that class and be like, wow, right now there's a few guys in the NFL, a few guys that will be in the NFL probably next year. And it's just really cool to be a part of that class. I was kind of the second quarterback. And obviously, like we talked about earlier, I learned from Tua, and I've also learned from everybody from that class. So it's been really cool to be a part of that growth.
Dennis Dodd, go ahead.
Hey, Mac. I wonder if you could give us an idea of what the offenses face defensively. What lengths or defenses go to try and stop you guys? Just maybe the number of defenses you've seen as defenses try to catch up.
Yeah, early in the year, I think people would try to play us how they wanted to play their defense against us. And then you kind of saw the transition as the year went on. Some people dropped 8, some people played more coverage, and then some people will try and pressure. But we kind of had answers for a little bit of everything. And it really just goes back to going against Coach Saban's defense and his philosophy. He's very multiple in his scheme, and Coach Pete and all them. So they do a good job in practice giving us different looks. But, yeah, it definitely changed as time went on. And, I mean, there was one game when the team literally dropped 8 the whole time, and you just got to take what they give you. It kind of is what it is. And it's good to go against different type of defenses like that because you get good learning experiences on tape and obviously when you're out there on the field.
Final question for Mac will be from Tyler Martin.
Hey, Mac, I know losing Landon was huge in the Florida game, but just speak to the level of your confidence with Chris Owens, and what have you seen from him in practice the last few days?
Yeah, I mean, losing Landon's definitely a tough gig, but we got to kind of just bounce back, and Landon would want nothing more than us to just keep doing what we're doing, and that starts with Chris. I mean, Chris has been here for, many years, and he's also one of my close buddies that, he does a good job. He's played tackle, guard, center. I mean, we go way back years and years, so we kind of have that same communication level, and we've been working on it this week, and I've just been really proud of him and the opportunity that he's gotten. I mean, that's a great experience just to be able to say, hey, I'm starting in the college football playoff game, and I've been here for a while, so we kind of have that similar late bloom, so I'm just really excited for Chris, and we're on the same page, and we're ready to roll.
All right, thank you,
Thanks,
Mac.
guys.
We will be bringing up Miller Forristall next. Next player we are joined with is tight end Miller Forristall. Chris Daly will open it up with questions.
Hey, Miller. So you come from a martial arts family. So how does that martial arts kind of translate onto the gridiron?
I think it was something growing up where not only my dad, but growing up with a lot of discipline. And it helped me kind of grow up as a man, a place where I got my butt kicked all the time, learned how to be tough, learned how to be disciplined and hard work. I think those are the 3 things that taught me the most.
Stephen Smith, go ahead.
Miller, of course, everybody's kind of talked about this, but what has you really confident in Chris Owens, knowing that he's been here a while, he's played a lot of football here? but what has you confident in Chris Owens getting this thing done at center?
I think, like what you just said, he's old like I am. He's played a lot of football, and just the way he's attacked this past week and a half, put his head down, gone to work. I think he's ready. I trust him. We trust him. The coaches trust him, and he's going to get the job done.
Charlie Potter, go ahead.
Hey, Miller. I just want to ask you about Jalil and his progress this season. Just what have you seen from him, and what do you think about a tight end back there returning kickoffs?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. There's not many tight ends that return kickoffs, and anytime one tight end gets love, we all get love. We all eat. So he's returning kicks, basically like me returning kicks. That's how I feel about it, at least. So, no, he's a guy that's really grown up this season. I think everybody's seen him evolve and the player he can be. You get flashes of what he can be, and if he's consistent and puts his head down, he's going to be a really good player. He's a special talent for sure.
Tyler Martin with the next question.
Hey, Miller, I'm just curious, what has this season been like you for? I know you've dealt with some injuries as well, but what has this season in 2020 meant to you?
I think whenever this season ends, it's going to be a lot of emotions for a lot of guys. We've been going since March, really, and it's been up and down and up and down, and trials and adversity, and that's going to make this season, I think, my favorite, not only because it's my last season, but the adversity that this team has had to face has made us tighter and closer and more of a team than any team I've ever been on. And that's something I'm really going to appreciate when this is all said and done.
Over to Tony Sakalas.
Yeah, Miller, you just said it was your last season. Have you given any thought to the NCAA rule that would allow you to play another season? Is that something that's kind of
Yeah, no, I've definitely thought about it. But honestly, right now we got Notre Dame in a couple days, and that's kind of where I'm focused at. Last season or not, didn't mean anything by that. I just know we're focused on Notre Dame right now, and that's kind of where our head's at. And we're just going to try and take the season in one day at a time, one game at a time. So,
Mike Rodak, go ahead.
Miller, about this time last year, there was a few juniors who left for the draft, but a couple who stayed as well, and Devonta and Najee. Just how much did you campaign for those guys to stay, and what have they meant to the team this year?
I mean, I think these guys are getting all this national recognition, and you can kind of see from a football side what they do, but you can't see from a locker room side, from a leadership side, the things that they do, and I think that's invaluable. A guy like Devonta Smith, how good he is of a leader on and off the field, and the same with Najee. Those are the things you guys don't see, but we get to see every day. And of course, I push for those guys to come back. I mean, if I stay another year, I'll push for even more guys to come back. But those guys are invaluable to our team, and them coming back, I think, has kind of set the standard for what this year is going to be. We're an old team, we're a mature team, and this is, I think, the closest team I've ever been on. So,
do we have any other questions for Miller?
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. We'll be bringing up the next player momentarily. Wide receiver John Metchie III will be the next player. Here we are, John Metchie III. AP Stedham will start us off.
Hey, good afternoon, John. Say, John, I wanted to ask you, you're like a world traveler, born in one country, came over to another, and then you've been in a third country. So what has that meant to you to be a world traveler and be a part of the University of Alabama football team? And when did you hear that?
Good afternoon. It's been an honor. I think it's an honor to be part of the University of Alabama, and I think just all of my travels has just made me more cultured. I've got to experience a lot of different cultures, meet a lot of different people. So that's what I think of it.
Lucas Wees with the second question.
Hey, John, thanks so much for taking the time. Two-part question. First, Coach Sarkeesian was in earlier just chatting about how you came into the program behind a long list of great receivers. How important was it to learn from receivers like Judy and Ruggs? And secondly, how has your play this year just inspired Canadians who are interested in playing football?
I think to answer the first part, I think it was a great opportunity for me last year, being behind all those receivers. I think it was a good opportunity for me to learn and take advantage of it and really see how they did things then, and just kind of sit back and learn from them. Like, who really wouldn't want that? And I think for the second part of the question, I'm not really sure how I inspire an individual person. I just really want them to be able to know that if they want to play football at the highest level, that it definitely is attainable.
Chris Daly with the next question.
Hey, John. So in the SEC championship, you made a lot of social media buzz for that hit that you had. So who taught you to tackle as a wide receiver?
I guess just as a kid playing football, you play both ways. You play offense and defense, and at the end of the day, whoever has the ball and whatever happens out there, you just have to play football. But I guess if I would give it to one person who taught me how to tackle, I'll say my brother. I'll give it to my brother Royce. My brother Royce taught me how to tackle like that.
Do we have any other questions for John? Back over to AP Stedham.
Hey, John, do you happen to know any players that are on the Notre Dame football team, and what have you seen from their secondary that gives you pause?
No, I don't personally know anybody on the Notre Dame football team, and they have a really good secondary. Their DBs are really good. Their safety is good, and they have a solid defense overall as far as their linebacking core and D linemen. So I think that's something we're excited and looking forward to do, something that we definitely have to prepare for. Yeah.
Joseph Goodman, go ahead.
Hey, John. Random question, I guess, but did you ever at all play hockey? And if so, how was it? And why'd you choose football?
Nah, I've never played hockey. I don't think I've ever watched an actual hockey game except for maybe my little cousins. I think I watched one of his hockey games, but no, I have no knowledge of hockey, but I played football because my brothers played it when I was little, and I kind of just watched them play football, and it's just the sport that I fell in love with.
Edwin Stanton, go ahead.
Hey, John. Najee likes to call himself a member of the Rideouts, kind of jokingly. After the SEC championship game, do you think he deserves to be a member?
Oh, Naj, he's been a Rideout. They're saying this isn't any. I mean, it may be new publicly that he's a member of the Rideouts, but yeah, Naj has definitely been part of the Rideouts.
Chris Hummer, over to you.
Hey, there's a pretty decent chance Devonta becomes the first Heisman winner at wide receiver in like 30 years. For those of us a little less technically versed in what makes a wide receiver great, can you kind of explain what separates Devonta from so many other people from a technical standpoint?
I think what separates him the most from everybody is definitely just his hard work and discipline. He's an extremely disciplined person, and he works extremely hard, and also consistency. Just shows up every day and brings his best every day. So I think that's definitely the characteristics that separate him.
Tony Sakalis with the next question.
Yeah, John. Earlier this week, Nick Saban said that you were the epitome of what everything you look for in a receiver. First off, what does that mean to you? And then second, to kind of piggyback off of Chris's question, just what have you learned from Devonta that will allow you to kind of be the guy next year when he moves on?
I guess that means a lot, especially coming from your head coach. That means a lot to you as a player, but also just learning from Smitty. I think just playing with him, playing alongside him, and seeing him every day, I think I'll be able to take just the focus of being able to focus on the task at hand and being able to be consistent and bringing your best every day.
That looks like all the questions we have for John Metchie. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We'll be bringing up the final player, Najee Harris, momentarily. What would your walk-up song be? Were you the one that was wanting to do that, or is that Landon?
A walk-up song? I ain't never heard of that. I ain't never talked about anything about a walk-up song. Somebody like that mask up here, by the way. Right.
We're joined with our final player of the afternoon, Najee Harris. And first question will go to Nick Hamilton.
Hey, Najee, how are you?
What's up?
I wanted to ask you, first of all, what does it mean playing in the Rose Bowl game, you being from California and what that means? And also, you average about 6 yards a carry. So what do you have to do to be successful on Friday against this physical Notre Dame defense?
It's an honor playing in the Rose Bowl. Like you said, it's supposed to be in California, but due to the circumstances of COVID, they changed it. I love watching the Rose Bowl, so actually playing it is an honor. But back to Notre Dame, I mean, yeah, I didn't even know I averaged that, but like that's not really my goal going into game. It's just doing what my numbers call really is just performing at the best, really. So whatever that is between passing or running, just perform and do it at a high caliber.
Chris Daly, go ahead.
Hey, Najee. So it's really inspirational how you kind of went from a homeless to now playing in the Rose Bowl, reminiscent of Jacobs, actually. So what's your relationship with Josh like, and what does this place, the University of Alabama, hold in your heart?
You said what was my relationship with Josh like?
Yeah.
Oh, Jacobs. Oh, I'm sorry. I know a couple Josh. Yeah, Josh, I was here, he was here my freshman and sophomore year. I absorbed a lot from him, Damian, and Bo. We don't really talk that much, obviously, because like, he's in the league, he's doing his thing, he's busy. I'm over here at Bama, we're busy. But from what you're saying of homeless, overcame a lot at a young age. But I guess I wouldn't take any of it back because I learned from a lot of it, from financially and being grateful from the little things that I have. So I'm grateful, I guess.
Next question over to Darren Pritchett.
Najee, yesterday Ian Book was talking about your 7-on-7 days and playing together. I'm wondering what you remember about Ian's skill set and your overall impressions of the quarterback he's become at the collegiate level.
Yeah, Ian's my guy. He's been doing an amazing job in college, from freshman year all the way till now. Back in 7-on-7, we played for TMP in Sacramento. The way he dissects defenses, really, and how he throws the balls in tight pockets and stuff like that, he does a good job at it. Even now, today, he does an amazing job of getting the ball to his playmakers and really being a leader, a vocal point of his offense. And just back in 7-on-7 when we played, it was fun to play with him, and it was really just an honor.
Tony Sakalis, you're up.
Yeah, hey, Najee. By the way, John Metchie invited you to be part of the ride-outs earlier today. So after your performance against Florida, were you a little bit disappointed to not be a finalist for the Heisman? And did you pay that any attention?
Back to the first question, the ride-outs. First day after practice, after the game, they finally accepted me. They said, "You a ride-out, Najee." So, hey, tip my hat to that. You know what I'm saying? They done let me in their room to be a ride-out. But the Heisman thing, I'm not tripping at all, man. The two guys we got in there right now is good enough. I play my part when my name is called. So it really doesn't matter if I'm in the race or not. That's really it.
John Feinren, you're up.
Yeah, Najee, going back to Ian Book, he said that he actually complimented you. He said that when you needed to go one-on-one situation, you knew you could throw the ball up there and you'd come down with it. You want to comment about that? And then also talk a little bit about the Notre Dame defense that you'll be facing this Friday.
He said that? About throwing it up to me?
Yep.
It's true. That's why. You just throw it up to me and I'm going to catch that. Real stuff. But their defense is good. They got the buckets award winner, of course. The secondary is really good. Their front line's good. Their linebackers is really good of attacking the run, reading out stuff. They're really, really good at really, really good, well-coached defense. High motors all across, never stop. All the way, they fight all the way through the whistle, and that's what you want in the defense, of course. And playing us, you always gotta keep going and play through the whistle. And they do a good job of that. And And obviously the record it shows it that they're a good team all across the board. They got good players, and number 6 guy is a really good player.
Chris Hummer, over to you.
Hey, Najee. How do you, first of all, how do you remember the last few days of your recruitment? And then spinning off of that, what do you remember thinking about that 2017 class you were potentially going to be a part of at that time?
Potentially going to be a part of?
Yeah, at Alabama, the 2017 class that you were potentially going to be a part of when you were making your decision.
Oh, so going back to recruiting, I didn't like it. It's too much attention. It's way too much attention for me. I think I just showed up here. Hey, I just showed up. I didn't even tell them I was coming here. I just showed up. I was tired of it, man. I just popped up at the airport with Tua. And then I didn't even know really all the recruits that was here. So first day of practice, I seen all these recruits that I knew in high school. I'm looking around, I'm like, man, we actually got a pretty good recruiting class here. And I mean, obviously it showed up in the championship game freshman year, and now ever since, I think we took off. Coach Saban did a really good job of recruiting. Hopefully we get to bring one home, Natty home.
Rhea Turner, floor is yours.
Najee, what do you think your biggest challenge will be going up against Notre Dame's defense?
I'll say my biggest challenge for me personally is not getting blowed, to be honest. The last game, I mean, I barely played the fourth quarter this whole year. I probably played in maybe 3 of them, fourth quarters. So really me getting back to my cardio and getting back to playing through 4 quarters and really not sustaining like not getting blowed. Because last game, I mean, I got to say I was blowed. It was the first time I played the fourth quarter. So really just playing through the whistle, finishing out every run, finishing out every play, blocking techniques, really being fundamentally sound, I think, is where I need to be good at for this game because they're a really well-coached team. So me being fundamentally good in all the little things, I think it's going to help me out a lot. They got good players. They got a good defense. They got a good defensive front, good linebackers who can run. Like I said, number 6 is a really active player. The way he blitzes, he's not blitzing to make a move or nothing like that and to look good and flashy. He's blitzing to come with bad intentions. And that's what you want in a linebacker like that. So really just being fundamentally sound in all the little things.
We have time for just a few more. Joseph Goodman, go ahead.
Hey Najee, just wanted to say first off, it's been a joy to watch you play for the past couple of years. I wanted to ask you about your famous touchdown celebration of Megan Rapinoe, and what about her inspired you to do that? And was that just kind of a spur of the moment thing for you, or what?
Nah, man, Megan go crazy. She from California, first of all, and she listened to Nipsey. Nipsey's Nipsey Hussle, one of my favorite rappers too. So she gave a shout out to him, and then really all the stuff she stands up for, she's a feminist and how the females, how women in the world gets treated unfairly, and how they get paid different stuff than men. So she really stands up for all that. I like how she does that. Obviously, the social injustice that happens, she plays a part in all that, and for her to be a woman and saying all that stuff. It could be scary for her for being a woman in what they will say is a man's world, and her just playing a part, standing up, not listening to all the naysayers out there, and really just standing up for what you believe in. It's motivating and it's inspirational. So me as a male, I guess you could say maybe not too many males will say they look up to a woman nowadays, but I really look up to her. Just for what she does outside of sports. And I guess I'd have gave her a shout out with a little stuff, all right?
We'll wrap things up with AP Stedham.
He always laughs, ain't he, AP? He always laughs.
Hey, good afternoon, Najee. How are you doing?
What's up?
I'm good, Najee. I'm good. Say, Najee, you're wearing 22 at Alabama. A lot of legends before you have worn that number. Johnny Musso, Tony Nathan, Mark Ingram. As a matter of fact, Johnny Musso said to tell you you've worn it well.
And he appreciates it. Man. Thank you for letting me wear it.
Yeah, Johnny. But have you ever seen those players on film or met any of them? Johnny Musso, Tony Nathan, or Mark Ingram?
I have met Mark Ingram. I think anything besides that, I would have been in California chilling. I don't know how old the people are. I'm guessing when did they play?
Yeah, Johnny Musso was a two-time All-American, 70 and 71, and then Tony Nason.
I wasn't even born. Come on now.
Right, weren't even born, yeah.
Come on. I haven't seen him here since I've been here, but I mean, shout out to him. You feel me? Like, what's up with it? Hopefully I get to see you. I have not seen him, though. I only see Mark.
I hear you. But, okay, Najee, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Is that it?
Thank you, Najee.
Right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. That will include our media availability with Alabama. We'll be back on 12/31 with head coach Nick Saban from Alabama, followed by Brian Kelly of Notre Dame at 9 o'clock on Friday, December 31st. Again, all video recordings and transcripts will be available on College Press Box and via the CFP media portal. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.